Poetry has the power to move and illuminate. It can even bring together lives that first connected 50 years ago, as Phil Blackwell discovered. We welcome Reverend Blackwell, pastor of First United Methodist Church, Chicago Temple, along with two poets for the next generation, Kiara Lanier, a freshman at the University of Missouri, and Ayanna Lance, a freshman at Whitney Young High School in Chicago. Thanks to all of you. I'm glad we can talk about this today.
Yeah.
Reverend Blackwell, tell us about your high school teacher.
Georgia Reef was my English teacher in my junior year of high school. I just moved to a new school, and he was one of those teachers. I hope everybody has one or two in their history of somebody who just made a big difference. And he taught English literature, had us memorize Milton and Shakespeare and all those things which we kind of grumbled about. But I discovered over the intervening decades that as a minister, having that kind of training in literature and having those rhythms and those images sort of buried somewhere deep in the back of my mind really helped me in my work, my preaching, the use of words. So George and I kept in touch. Now,
That's
George
wonderful.
took me 30 years for him to call him by his first name. You know, he broke me down. And he lives nearby, so every so often we get together. And then last year he had a major stroke, and I went to see him. And he was lying there, he couldn't speak, and he just was in a very, very difficult situation. And I realized I didn't have much to talk to him about other than to go back and retrieve some of the poems that he had taught me that I then began to read back to him, hoping that that would make a connection, would give us sort of a common vocabulary.
A language,
And I went to see him every week or two and read more poems, and over time he began to get some of his facility for speaking back, and got out of the hospital and was back in his residence and all. So it was just really for me a marvelous demonstration of the power of words and poems and the rhythms and meters and all to call him out. I brought along I brought along a poem that he taught me that I once knew by heart but don't now. But it's in a book that he actually wrote and then gave it to me. But this is John Milton on his blindness. And this is one of the first poems I read to George when he was struck unable to speak, because I thought an English teacher who couldn't talk, that'd be one of the worst possible things to have that taken away.
But he'd be so proud to have a student who remembered.
Well, Milton, the poet, went blind and thought that his writing days were over. So he dictated this to his daughter. When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God exact day labor light denied? I fondly ask. But patience, to prevent that murmur, soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly, thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait. There was that last line that I had known for half a century now, because George showed it to me. And I thought maybe there's something about a person whose major gift is now on hold or taken away, that you're still serving, you're still important, you're still valuable if all you can do is wait. So that was part of the retrieval of a vocabulary, and I was just very, very grateful that I could give back to him a gift that he had given me.
It's wonderful, come full circle. So we have two young poets with us here today. Do you have current mentors in your life, whether they're English teachers or other people that have drawn you to poetry?
I do, actually. I have two, well, a few mentors, but when I first got serious about using my words as activism, I had the mentor who is also a poet. Her name is Tony Asante Lightfoot, as well as my English teacher, Molly Meacham, who is also a poet at Lane Tech.
Fabulous. And how about you, Ayanna?
Currently is my poetry slam captain of the team. His name's Will Kazuka, and he teaches me a lot.
Can you tell us a little bit about the story? What first drew you in?
Well, I've always written poetry ever since I was younger, but I've realized I didn't realize how powerful poetry can be until I went to Louder Than a Bomb, which is the largest youth poetry slam in the world. And it's people of all different races, all youth, talking about the problem with the women in the Congos, to regular high school issues with parents and all kinds of different things. But we had the power to influence everyone in that room for those 3 minutes. And my mentor, Tony Lightfoot, said, "I don't expect much of you, I just expect you to change the world."
Oh, that's all.
And I thought that was impossible. But if you just influence one person, that's changing the world.
How did you get involved?
I always wrote poetry, but I really started getting involved also because I went to Louder Than a Bomb.
Okay.
And it got me so excited because everyone's so anxious, and it's really lively. It showed me poetry with a 21st century twist almost. I never knew poetry could take forms in everyday life.
I'd love it if you could each share a poem with us. Kiara, could you share yours?
I'll show you this poem that I wrote for Darian Albert after I saw the video of his murder. Wood beat. Beat, drum, stick, stick, wood, stick, drum, beat, beat, body, body, blood. Drum, beat, body, blood, body, drum, crack. Drum, beat, blood, skull, body, crack. Blood, crack, wood, cross, crack, wood. Blood, wood, lynch, wood, skull, crack. Wood, kick, kick, skull, drum, kick, blood. Boy, black, blood, body, kick. Beat, beat. Drip, beat, beat, drip, beat.
Ayana, are you ready to share a poem?
My poem is called My Castle, and it's about the local playground next to my high school. The first time I flew, touched the sky with my tongue, left the ground so effortlessly. The first time I demolished gravity, I knew this place was mine. From the juggle gym to the swings, this was my domain. I fought many wars because the elementary school next door wouldn't leave me alone. I was invincible, watching my competitors fall. The kindergartners gone in the pace epidemic. The first graders demolished in the cookie famine. The second and third graders ran scared in the face of the kissing massacre. Too busy fooling around, polishing my gold crown to hear the rumbling, the smell of freshly packed lunches and craft glue. I was unprepared for the barricade of concerned parents, signed petitions. You push one first grader off the slide and suddenly you're Satan. They came like a great tide out the sea, crawling up the slide, scaling the metal sides with their markers and pencils. They began to poke and prod, dance around my collapsed body, singing burial chants. I was giving a Viking funeral, my body burning with shame as they pushed me down. I don't know why I thought they would let me be young forever.
You're both incredibly talented. Both poems were moving in such different ways.
Those are great examples of what you're talking about, of the power of the word and also the ability to change lives. And that's been the tradition of poetry throughout the centuries, whatever the language and whatever the idiom. It's been very, very life-changing.
Thank you, Reverend Blackwell, Kiara, and Ayana for being here. I'm Polly Toner for Different Drummers. Keep the faith.